Hey, I hope you're doing well. Quick mental lesson today. I've been doing a series of interviews with senior players, national level players who are super experienced, picking their brains. One of them, he's actually not a senior player yet, but I think he's playing in the 50s or 55s at the national level. His name is Jeff Greenwald. He's an incredible mental coach, sports psychologist, works with tennis players, athletes, business people, so on and so forth. We had a great conversation, and he asked me to do a quick little exercise that I'm going to ask you to do right now. Really simple. Just whenever you have the chance, and I hope maybe you're sitting down right now and you can do this, and it's really interesting, a really interesting experience. Just rub your thumb and your index finger together. You know, like the world's tiniest violin. Rub them back and forth and just think about like the actual like, sensation of it. Like, what does it feel like? What's the amount of friction? How much firmness like maybe do you have? And just kind of just pay attention to it. Does your skin warm up? What do you notice? And just take like 5 seconds. So the interesting part about the experience isn't so much that, but while that's happening, while you're processing that, notice that you're not noticing anything else. There aren't any other conscious like thoughts coming into play besides maybe, wow, this is stupid, or like, this is awkward, or whatever. If you can like put that aside and try it again, and you realize suddenly that everything else just kind of like goes into the background. So what are the implications of this? Whenever you're physically doing something and you're consciously, focusing on it, everything else just kind of takes a back seat mentally and physically too. It's not that hard to distract ourselves in the sense that I'm going to put my attention here, and when my attention is here, it can't simultaneously be on something else. So while I'm doing the rub your fingers together exercise, I can't also be processing my taxes or the fight that I had with my significant other, or traffic, or whatever's stressing you out, like the day you had at work, or whatever it is. And so likewise, when you're playing a tennis match and your opponent, let's say, is grunting, really loud, or you just missed like the easiest volley ever into the net on a critical point, on a break point or whatever, you have the ability to decide what are you going to feed your mind with, in the sense that you have the ability to decide what are you going to focus your energy on. Now, listen, it's impossible. You're not a robot, you're not a machine, so you can't just force yourself to only think positive thoughts, or only think happy thoughts, or only respond in the moment in a positive, like wholesome way. Like, you're gonna have blips. You're gonna fall off the rails sometimes. You're gonna respond negatively frequently in tennis matches, and all those things are totally fine. It's totally normal and healthy. Like, if you never showed any negativity, you'd just be stuffing it, and that's not a healthy thing, as a tennis player, or outside of tennis either. But what you can do after dumping that volley into the net, or whatever other challenge comes your way, whatever other obstacle is in your way that you're struggling with, you do have the ability to place your attention on what you want it to be on. It doesn't mean there's not going to be challenges. It doesn't mean that the line call isn't going to bother you. But after it happens, and after you've been bothered, you do have the choice on what you're going to focus on in the next moment, and the moment after that, and the moment after that. So focusing on where am I going to aim my serve on the next point is much more beneficial to you, and it's going to provide much more value to your game than continuing to ruminate on the bad line call, as an example. Picking on the backhand on this, I got off my pattern. I wanted to play ad side patterns. I let him get me shifted over into deuce side on the previous point. That would be beneficial. That would be productive. But continuing to ruminate on the bad call, or continuing to ruminate on the annoying grunt, or continuing to ruminate on how ugly their backhand is, or how much you hate their guts because of whatever drama is going on, off the court, so on and so forth, those are obviously not productive things. And you have the choice. And just like with the, rubbing your fingers together, where you're choosing to put your attention there, which takes your attention off of everything else. So just think about it in your next match, or even just a training session. Where is your attention? And could it be on something more productive? Could it be on something that gives you a better outcome, instead of just going the path of least resistance and whatever's in front of your face at any given time, you're just going to go with the flow and just let your mind wander wherever it happens to go. And a lot of tennis players, that's the case. So whatever is front and center, that's where their attention is. And if you're aware of that, and you understand kind of the principles of how the mind works, and you understand you have a choice about where to put your attention, then you can optimize for much, much better performance. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that's helpful. Maybe in between points, just rub your fingers together. Big thank you to Jeff Greenwald for that idea. And at some point, I'll be publishing parts of that interview, as well as many others I've done recently. Looking forward to sharing that with you. Thanks for watching. Hope you're well. Talk to you again soon.